Yeah, April 30th, 2019. I wanted to do a quick video about the 90s, like the mid 90s, late 90s, early thousands. I just wanted to do a video because lately I've been reminiscing on once upon a time. I've been thinking about how decent the 90s were for me, at least. I don't know about other people, but I'm just wondering, like, what has happened since that time? Because it's like so different from that time. Like, I've been watching videos lately, just watching everything 90s related, 90s, early thousands related. And everybody says that it's, the World Trade Center and stuff like that that messed up stuff for everything. I don't know if that to be true for some people, maybe a lot of people, yeah. I don't know for me if it did something with me too. It might have, but I really don't know. But all I know is today is nothing like it was. It just, it's totally different than what it was in the mid 90s to early 2000s to about 2003. 2004, 2005 for me is when it started feeling like a bygone era. I guess I could say from 93, 94 to 2003, 2004 was like one of the best times in my life. And it ain't because of my age neither, because I'm only 33. It's not because of my age. And I notice a lot of people saying this on this subject. I notice a lot of people talking about the 90s were a time that they wish they could go back to and all this. So that's how I know a bunch of stuff has changed for a lot of people. And now I realize I'm kind of realizing what's going on nowadays. When I go out and I'm around people and I go to the store and people, I'm telling you, man, people are, I don't know if I could say the word hurting, because if you have everything you need, you're not hurting really. You might be hurting psychologically, but that's stuff you got to deal with. But for me, if I have food and water and shelter and medication, like the stuff I need, I'm okay now. I don't need the world in my hands. You know what I mean? I don't need all the women. I don't need all the cars. I don't need all that stuff. But there was just something about these times, the mid 90s to early thousands, that were just different. It was like you went to basketball tournaments and you went and worked out. You know what I mean? You weren't worried about phones. You weren't on phones. You were going out and playing in the snow and having snow battles and making snowmen. And you were going sledding with your friends and you were skateboarding or anything. Like, I didn't even skateboard, and some days I was trying to do what other people were doing because there was always something to do. You know what I mean? I wasn't the one that was inside watching TV all the time. Yes, I watched TV, but it's just like I don't want to relive those times. I just want to have a sense of having that happen again, where you played Super Nintendo and then PlayStation came out and all that stuff came out, but then it just kept coming and coming and coming, and then phones were around, but then it just kept getting better and better and coming and coming and coming. And I think that's what made it worse, is that we were just bombarded with this stuff and it didn't just stop. You know what I mean? They didn't put a hold to it and say, okay, well, let's let them sit and, you know what I mean, rest with this a little bit and then bring it out again, if that makes any sense. We were just bombarded with it, and then you get sick and tired of it, and then it ends up, it's April 30th, 2019, and it's like, that was, 20, 25 years ago, what I'm talking about. But I don't know. It's really strange. I can't explain it, but a lot of people know what I mean when I'm talking about it. Lately I just find myself thinking about everything 90s related, mid 90s to early thousands. Like, in my head, I'm still back in that time. Like, I don't even really want to. I'm glad that I'm alive and I'm living and I'm awake, but I find myself watching videos, about the O.J. Simpson trial, and I find myself watching music from back then. And it's kind of like I never left that time. You know what I mean? I went through the 2000s, 2010s, and we're about to be in 2020. And it's like, now what? It's like, now what? It's like, everything is just not like it was. And I just sense that from so many people that are saying this. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but the 90s were a great time, and I took it for granted. Like, I didn't even realize how good of a time it was. Like, and I feel bad for kids being born nowadays. I really do. I can really understand your pain. For real. I don't blame them for being the way they are, being lazy and not wanting to do nothing. How can you blame these kids? We blame these children today. They didn't have it like we had it. They didn't have Super Nintendos, and they didn't have, they got these phones, and they have everything handed to them, and it's so easy. They don't have to go out and do nothing. They don't have to go out and work out because there's nothing to do. They might have a TV at home, but they're not going to be at the TV all day. Like me, I wasn't at the TV. I was out doing something all the time, bouncing a bouncy ball, playing with action figures when I was younger, seeing who could hit something with a rock. You know what I mean? Like, the littlest things that we don't do today no more. And it's like a bygone era, if you ask me. It's just, we were doing these things up until, I'm talking about way back. I'm talking about hundreds of years, up until about the 90s and early thousands. Everything changed. Everything changed for humanity. Everything. When computers came, when technology came into the picture, it took away all that stuff, because it took the attention off of all of that stuff and it put the attention on phones and computers. And now that is the thing that's in demand right now. And I make these videos on the phone, but if you told me that there was no phones right now and computers were absolutely gone, I wouldn't be that mad. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I got to make an adjustment here, a little adjustment, and I'd be kind of glad about it, really. I can't sit here and lie. I'd actually be a little glad about it. But yeah, the 90s, there will never be times like that again. So for me, I know I'm not living in the 90s. Let's not get it twisted here. I'm not living in the 90s. I know I can't go back in the 90s to them days. But what I'm saying is I reminisce on it, and it actually kind of gets me through my day sometimes when I think about this old stuff. Like today, when I make beats, I tend to make stuff that sounds more not late 90s, early 1000s stuff. You know what I mean? I don't make none of this new school stuff. I'm not into the new school way of how everybody's doing stuff. So that's why I think if I do my thing, people are gonna like it, because they're gonna see that spirit, so called, in me, that 90s spirit. If and when I get something going that I have planned to do. I have a lot of things planned to do. I just haven't got there yet in my life, but it'll come. And believe me, life is way too short. If you're one of these people that are waiting around to do stuff, you better get on it right now, because I'm telling you, I'm 33 years old, and I'm talking about the 90s and the early 1000s. That's what this video is based upon. But let me tell you, that was 25 years ago, and it was like it was yesterday. So for you young cats, you ain't got a lot of time. And for these old heads, they'll tell you that. And I'm only 33 telling you that. It's going to go like this. You're going to start seeing little wrinkles on your face. You're going to see your eyes getting baggier. You know, your hair is going to start thinning out a little bit. I'm telling you. So whatever you like to do, just do. Because I don't know what this younger generation's supposed to do. What are they supposed to do? Like, I don't see people playing basketball on a court no more. That's another thing. I used to play basketball all the time. I used to be able to dunk on 10 feet. And I'm a white dude, 5'9", 5'10". And because that's how dedicated I was in doing it. Because that's what we were doing. We were playing basketball. And then when we weren't playing basketball, we were walking around, or we were, doing anything we could find to do. Riding a bike, hitting a ball around with a stick, running up and down a hill, tackling each other. I mean, it didn't even matter what it was. But nowadays, I just do not see that no more at all. It's like everything is just at like a standstill. It's like people are living, yes, but it's like nothing's really going on. It's just people going to work, waking up, having money to live. And I mean, it's whatever. I guess that's the times we're in. But I mean, I just been thinking about it a lot lately. Like, I can't lie. I do wish I could go back to them times. Going to the basketball tournaments, going over to the cabin with my brothers and his friends, and doing a little of stuff that we shouldn't have been doing. But it was those times though that led into these times. And it's like the transition that happened, I can't understand where it really happened. And see, I believe, this is just me, my opinion, that's why I think phones and technology and making things easier for everybody has destroyed that era. It has totally obliterated that era, and it's no more. It's just no more. And I guess that's the time to blame for the times we're in now, because that's when all the video games and all the technology really started, was the 80s and 90s. So I guess my error is to blame. So but yeah, to everybody that loved the 90s, from about 94 to 2004, 93 to 2003. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. Try to put that into society a little bit if you can, instead of all this new age stuff. But it is what it is. We're in today, and we're in today. So with that, have a great time.